Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to Tathastu ICS. I am Pooja Sharma, your current affairs and history faculty here, and I am going to take your DNA. Today is 16th of May 2025 and this is the front page of your The Hindu newspaper. Obviously, we are going to cover both the news which are there on your front page. Okay, so this news as well and that news as well. This is the QR code for the PDF files, okay, the same PDF file which you can access from this QR code. This is a QR code for a Telegram group. Other than that, in the comment section, in the description box also you can have access to these PDF files. Good evening everyone who are online. Rishi is here, Mansa is here, Vidya is here, Deepika is here. Very good evening everyone. Okay, so let's start today's discussion. Let's see which news are important. These are the new courses which are starting at the Tathastu ICS. Any one of you are interested, you can just comment in the comment section and you will get the detail of these programs. Now, let's come to the news. So these are the 5 important news which we are going to cover today. The first is on your front page. That is very important news. Actually, recently our Home Minister is there in Jammu and Kashmir after the Operation Sindoor and the incidents that happened in Pahalgam. Now, there he actually talked about the nuclear arsenal which are there with the Pakistan and he actually expressed concern over it. So we are going to understand what all is there. This article is not important from the point of view what was being said by Rajnath Singh. The article is important why Pakistan can create a problem to the world because Pakistan itself has so many nuclear weapons. So we are going to understand this particular news from this point of view. Okay, what is NPTs? Okay, that all those international level scenario we are going to understand. Our second news is related to the recent presidential reference to the Supreme Court of India. So recently our President Draupadi Murmu, okay, obviously with the aid and advice of Council of Ministers has asked some questions under Article 143, or Article 143 is something from which a president can seek any kind of advice from Supreme Court of India. Now this time also our president has asked some questions from Supreme Court of India, but those questions which are being asked, so these questions are only known as presidential reference. So what is the issue with the presidential reference? Why Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is not being happy about it? Why is he slamming it? Because he is thinking that such kind of presidential reference are there to undermine the authority of the state and the authority of the elected government. Okay, and the center wants to put itself on above the center's state's interest. So this is all there in this article. We are going to understand everything in detail. What is Article 143? Why Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is not very happy with this presidential reference? And what are the 14 questions which are being asked by our President from Supreme Court of India? Okay. Third news we are going to cover is about the right to digital access. Okay, this is not a very new news. Obviously, we all know that recently it was there in news from so many years that right to digital access is also a part of right to life under Article 21. Right? Now the article is actually going to uncover what is the issue with the digital access. It means digital access to the people who are physically disabled. So people with disability, how they can have access to digital world in general, right? So they need to have. So the article is basically centered around the know your customer provisions, which is mandatory from the Supreme Court to curb the illegal transfer of money in our country. So, but that know your customer process is very difficult for the people with disability. Okay, so we are going to understand what are the rights of the people with disability in our preamble, in our fundamental right or in directive principles. Along with that, do we have a separate act for that? And what does that act talk about this digital access? Now the Supreme Court of India has actually, raised these questions that what about the rights of people with disability when it comes to digital access. So this article is actually revolving around that. So we are going to understand everything from that context. Our fourth news is related to the recent statement which was given by Donald Trump. We all are seeing that statement on, it's all over social media, that the Donald Trump was actually saying that he was making this comment that he is not very happy that why Apple is moving its business to India. Indians can take care of themselves. Now this particular news is about that. Actually, it is the reaction of that Trump's rhetoric won't harm Apple's India manufacturing. It means in India, we already have the kind of infrastructure which is required for the requirement of the Apple phones of Indians and the people of the USA. So we already have the kind of infrastructure and the planning. So whatever Donald Trump has said, that is not going to impact Indian economy in a very bad manner. Okay, so we need not to worry about that. Other than that, our fifth news is very important news. Now it is the labor force participation survey. Okay, so according to that survey, the unemployment rate in our country is 5.1% and women labor force participation has risen. Okay, these are not the only outcome which are there in labor force survey. So there are so many outcomes, so many results of this survey. So we are going to know everything in detail. After that, we are going to do some questions. Today we are going to have some prelims oriented as well as mains oriented questions. So let's start today's discussion with our first news. So the first news is related to the put Pak. So this is the statement by Rajnath Singh that put Pakistan's nuclear arsenal under watch. So this is being said by India. Actually, Rajnath Singh is being, representative of India. So that's why we are, putting this statement as what is being said by India. So what is the context here? Now, Rajnath Singh is there in Jammu and Kashmir. When he was visiting Jammu and Kashmir, he was actually talking to the army personnel. When he was talking to the army personnel, he has said one important thing, that they are questioning the safety and calling for the international monitoring by IAEA, that is International Atomic Energy Agency. So now this is the question which is there at national and international arena, that why Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, or you can say nuclear weapons, should be under watch by International Atomic Energy Agency. Obviously, I will make you understand what is the purpose of International Atomic Energy Agency. First, you need to understand that. Now, he said the Pakistan is behaving irresponsibly and cannot be trusted with nuclear weapon, right? So now about talk with Pakistan, he has made it clear, like in the address of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he actually put focus on one thing, that we are ready to talk with Pakistan, but only on two matters. The first is the POK. First is POK, that is the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and the second is on terrorism. So these two will be the only topic on which we are going to talk with Pakistan if any kind of talk is going to happen. And why? Because the talk and the terror cannot go hand in hand. First, Pakistan need to take some measures to curb the terrorism in its territory, and after that we can talk on Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And the same thing is being repeated by our defense minister here. So this is the news. So now we are going to understand what is the significance of news, and along with that we need to understand what is this International Atomic Energy Agency and why Rajnath Singh right now is actually mentioning this particular agency in context of Pakistan's nuclear weapons. So International Atomic Energy Agency, it is there since 1957. And why it was created? Because we all know about in World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, these both cities were victims of nuclear attack, right? So after this attack, the international community wanted that we should never in any condition using the nuclear weapon. Obviously, there are so many countries which are in race to, to have these nuclear weapons, including India and the Pakistan, but such kind of incidents should not get repeated again, because look, one kind of warfare with other kind of weapons are a separate kind of war, but the nuclear war is a different kind of war. Only in these two cities the nuclear weapon were being used in World War II, and the results were devastating. So That's why after that in 1957 an international agency which is attached to the United Nations only, it was being created, and the major aim, working of IAEA was focused on three parameters. The first, to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy. Obviously, nuclear energy, the invention of nuclear energy is very important, right? Very important for generating electricity or some other kind of activity, but it is obviously not good when it comes to nuclear weapons. Ensure nuclear safety and security. Okay, nuclear energy's peaceful use is the good thing, but this peaceful use should not be unsafe. So safety is also very important. Other than that, we need to prevent the spread of nuclear weapon. So right now, our Rajnath Singh is talking about this third work which is being done by IAEA to prevent and spread the nuclear weapons. If there is a nuclear weapon, we need to ensure the safety of those nuclear weapons, right? Yes, India did not sign NPT. You are very much right. We are going to understand that also. So India is the member of IAEA. So we are the member of IAEA. It means we put focus on that. Yes, these three statements are very much applicable. It should be applicable all over the world. That peaceful nuclear energy should be promoted, but it should always be safe. Along with that, we need to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. Obviously, there are so many countries. Actually, there are 9 countries in our world which are having these nuclear weapons, out of which 8 actually has confirmed it, except North Korea. Now these 8 countries, now what is the purpose of IAEA? IAEA is going to make sure that no other country is going to have these nuclear weapons, right? There are 2 such agencies. One is IAEA, another one is NPT. NPT is not attached to United Nations, but let me come to that also. So what is the relation of India with IAEA? First of all, you need to remember that India is a member of IAEA, right? Other than that, some of India's civil nuclear reactors are also under the IAEA safeguard, especially after 2008 India-US nuclear deal. When the nuclear deal between India and USA happened, USA actually emphasized on this fact that India's civilian nuclear facility should also be under IAEA for 2 reasons. One, that there should be enough safeguards so that the nuclear energy cannot, the peaceful use of nuclear energy cannot convert into nuclear disaster. Okay. Second, USA and all over the world, everyone wanted to make sure they can control India's nuclear weapon expansion. So that's why they wanted to have, they wanted to put these IAEA safeguards on us. Okay. The same thing we want for Pakistan. Now, but India is not part of NPT. This you need to understand. What is the NPT? NPT is Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. What is the meaning of non-proliferation? It means we need to stop it somewhere. Okay. So if, let's say, if there are, obviously there are no 1,000, if there are 10,000 nuclear weapons in the world, they should remain only 10,000. There should not be 10,001 nuclear weapon in this world. So this is the purpose of NPT, but NPT is very discriminatory in approach. So let's see. So am I audible to everyone? So let's understand what is this NPT. NPT is nuclear. First of all, obviously it is related to the nuclear energy. The second, non-proliferation treaty. It means NPT is enforced from 1970. A main goal is to stop the spread of nuclear weapon. The same way, IAEA has the same purpose. NPT also has the same purpose. But IAEA is equal for everyone. But this is not the case with the NPT. Okay, there are total 191 countries in the world, out of which all major countries are signatory to this NPT except 4 countries. So India, Pakistan, Israel and North Korea, these are the only 4 countries which are not signatory to Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Why India did not sign NPT? Let's understand that also. Look, we all know that 9 countries possess nuclear weapon, okay? But only 8 formally acknowledges. Okay, 5 of them are considered as nuclear weapon states by NPT only. So in NPT, So you have understood in the last slide there were 4 countries: India, Pakistan, Israel and North Korea. Okay, these are the only 4 countries which are not signatory to NPT. But there are other 5 countries also which has nuclear weapon and they are also part of NPT. But they are considered as nuclear weapon states. It means they have the right to keep the nuclear weapons, but no other member of NPT have any right to possess nuclear weapons. So 5 are considered as nuclear weapon state under NPT. In order of acquisition of nuclear weapon, these are the United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France and China. So USA, China, United Kingdom, France and Britain, USA and United Kingdom, they can have nuclear weapons but not the other countries. That's why this is the reason why India did not sign it. Obviously this is the same reason why Pakistan is not signing it and why Israel is not signing it. Same with the North Korea, because these 4 countries have nuclear weapons. Now India refuses to sign NPT because according to us it is very discriminatory. Why only 5 countries? Either no one should have nuclear weapons, okay, none of the country in this world should have nuclear weapons. Why only 5 countries have the right to have nuclear weapons but not the others? Okay, so there will be a power change, there will be a power imbalance if such kind of treaties are going to be signed by India also. It allows only countries that tested nuclear weapons before 1967 to keep them legally. These are the 5 countries. Okay, but not other. India believes all nations should be treated equally. If we are talking about elimination of nuclear weapons, then why these 5 countries have nuclear weapons? None of the countries should have nuclear weapons. So that is the case. Now, so that was all about this news. Let's look at our next news. Okay, so next news is related to the why Tamil Nadu Chief Minister slams presidential reference to top court on timeline to act on state bills. Okay, so let's understand. Obviously this statement has so many concepts all together, so we are going to understand it one by one. Now, so what is the context here? Recently what happened? Actually our President Draupadi Murmu, with the aid and advice of Council of Minister, you can say that the center government, okay, center government. So center government advised our president to put a presidential reference, okay, presidential reference under Article 143 to Supreme Court of India. Okay, Supreme Court of India. What is Article 143? Article 143 is the advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. It means it allows the President of India to seek any advice from the Supreme Court on important legal or constitutional matters. Okay, it means our President under Article 143 can ask any question. It means, look, seeking advice and asking question is same thing. Asking question is same thing. Okay, for example, seeking advice, but can Supreme Court of India override the decisions taken by the President of India? So this is a question, okay, and this is an advice also. We are seeking advice so that we can work all together. But Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is saying that why the President is having such kind of reference, there is a separate agenda behind that. So let's understand. First you need to understand that Council of Ministers directed our President that to have a presidential reference, or you can say that to ask these questions from Supreme Court of India. What actually happened in the background, Supreme Court of India was actually criticizing the central government for not passing 10 bills which were already passed by the Tamil Nadu State Assembly. So Tamil Nadu State Assembly has already passed 10 bills, but the governor of Tamil Nadu was not giving final assent to those bills, and those bills from Tamil Nadu's point of view were very, very important. So Tamil Nadu Chief Minister was actually accusing the governor that the governor is not giving the final consent to their bills. Along with that, whenever Supreme Court wanted to intervene, governor transferred those bills to President of India, like the governor can do under Article 200. So governor can also transfer the bills, the final assent to the bills to the President of India. So now the Supreme Court was saying that both President and the governor need to have a time limit in which they need to give assent to the bills which was being passed by the state assembly. If a bill that is already being transferred back to an assembly will be passed, because after that the president or the governor has to give assent to the bill. So in the first time they were actually withholding the bill. So Tamil Nadu was not very happy about it. So that's why Supreme Court of India, so Tamil Nadu actually went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court of India actually criticized the central government over it, that why are you not giving assent to these bills. Now in light of that judgment only, now the Council of Ministers, or you can say the central government, was actually directing our president that you please ask question from Supreme Court only, that whatever Supreme Court is, whatever direction Supreme Court is giving us, is that legal or not. So there are actually 14 questions which are the part of this presidential reference. So let's understand what are these 14 questions. Very important news it is. So there are 14 questions which are revolving around these questions. First of all, there are questions like, can courts impose deadline on governor and president? So this is the question which is being asked by our president to Supreme Court of India. So president is asking these questions to Supreme Court. Why? Because recently Supreme Court only gave this, direction that there should be a time frame, there should be a timeline in which the president or governor need to give assent to the state bills. Okay. So this is what being said by Supreme Court. Now they are asking, can you actually do that? Second, can courts override the constitutional discretion of the governor and the president? Second question. Another questions are like, can a state law be valid without governor's assent? If governor hasn't given assent, can we say that the bill is going to convert into an act or not? Third, next, are actions of the governor or president justiciable before a bill become law? Can a two-judge bench, because the judgment which was given, okay, that there should be a timeline for governor and president, that was only two-judge bench. Now the president is asking the same question. Can a two-judge bench decide such major constitutional issue? Shouldn't there be a five-judge bench who should have a discussion over this such an important constitutional matter? Other than that, does Article 361, which actually give immunity to president and governor, protect them completely from this judicial review? What is Article 143? Article 143 is kind of a power which is given to the president to ask or seek any advice from Supreme Court of India. There are two parts. There is 143(1), 143(2). Okay. So 143(1), the president can ask any question or seek any advice on constitutional matter from Supreme Court of India. So that is Article 143, right? I hope you understood. So this is a mechanism. If, for example, if government is confused about a constitutional matter, okay, that it is constitutional or it is not constitutional. For example, government is confused about it. So how governor can, there has to be a channel through which it can seek the advice from the Supreme Court of India. So now president is that channel. So the government, or you can say that the Council of Ministers is going to go to the president. Then they will ask president, please use your power under Article 143, and you please ask Supreme Court of India that this particular constitutional advice. So this is the meaning of Article 143. So these are the kind of questions which are the part of this presidential reference. Now let's understand why Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is not happy about it. Actually, this comes under, I have already explained this, Supreme Court's judgment in April, which criticized delays in Tamil Nadu governor giving assent to 10 repassed state bills. Okay. Stalin, actually the name of the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, believes it is an attempt to undo earlier Supreme Court ruling, this particular ruling that protected the state government from unconstitutional delays by the government. So that's why he is slamming it. He sees it as a threat to federalism and a way to centralize the power. So now this is a perfect example of a tussle between states and center. So now the major tussle is the Tamil Nadu state and our central government. Tussle is about who is actually going to control things. So if there is a bill which is being passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly but is not in the interest of center, center, then the center is using its central power such as the power of governor and the president, so that that kind of the bills which are not in favor of the central government should not get passed. Okay, so this is the tussle which is going on between Tamil Nadu state and the central government. So let's understand what is Article 200. 200 is assent to the bills by the governor in terms of states. Okay, so we all know that states have their own legislative assembly, so they can also introduce bills. Okay, they can pass those bills. The moment the bills are passed, the bills will go to the governor. Now, what are the rights of governor? The moment the passed bill is there in the hand of the governor. Now, governor can give assent to the bill. If the governor is going to give assent, the bill become law. Governor can withhold the bill. It means the bill is being rejected. Withheld means he can actually sit on the bill as long as possible. It is actually discretionary power of governor, right? But governor is actually acting as an agent of central government. So it means, so it can be misutilized. If the central government doesn't want governor to give assent to a particular bill, then governor can utilize this particular power, right? Now third, return of the bill. The governor can return the bill if there are some provisions which was not in favor, or the governor think that these provisions are not right and the bill need to be reconsidered, then the bill can go back to the legislative assembly, state legislative assembly. Reserve the bill to the state legislature for reconsideration. Next, what he can do, he can actually reserve the bill for the president's consideration. Okay, if there is a conflict between central law and the state law, so he can actually transfer it to the president also for the final consent. So these are the powers of governor. Okay, so governor can actually withhold the assent, but now the states are saying that, especially Tamil Nadu, that governor is withholding almost all the bills which are being passed by the state. So what kind of power is that? Now the Supreme Court intervened and asked governor that you cannot withhold it for forever. Okay, so it was the interpretation of Supreme Court under Article 200. Now that's why our president actually asked these questions from Supreme Court of India. So now let's understand Article 201, which is the president roles in the state bill. So what is the role of president? So in the last, what was the last point? That the governor can transfer the bill to the president for further consideration. Now, the moment the state bill from the hands of governor is in the hands of president, now the president can give assent to the bill become law. President may again withhold the assent, and president may ask the state legislature to reconsider the bill. So these are the power of the governor and the president under Article 200 and under Article 201. But now obviously there is because of these such kind of issue, there is a role of Supreme Court, where Supreme Court actually gave direction to the governors and president that you need to give assent to the bills within a time frame. So that time frame issue is not being considered by the central government, and central government is giving these presidential reference to Supreme Court of India. Now let's come to our next article. Next article is related to the Article 21. Does Article 21 include the right to digital access or not? Okay, so first of all you need to understand the answer is yes only. Okay, obviously Article 21 contains the right to digital access. If this question comes directly in your examination, you are going to say yes to it. Let's understand what is the story here. So on 30th April, actually Supreme Court of India gave a judgment. So it directed the revision of Know Your Customer digital norm to ensure accessibility of person with disabilities. We all know about KYP, Know Your Customer. Okay, so it is actually related to Aadhaar. You need to give your Aadhaar, and Aadhaar itself is based on biometric. For example, it needs your thumb impression. For example, if there is a person, okay, who doesn't have hand, there is a disabled person who doesn't have hand, how is he going to give those thumb impression? It means he cannot have that KYP. It means we can say that the Know Your Customer provisions in our country are not disabled friendly. Same with the person who are blind. Okay, sometimes the face recognition also. What about the acid attack survivors? They don't have particular structure of faces. So how these KYP processes are accessible to people with disability. So that's why in Supreme Court of India recently in April 30, they actually gave direction to the banks that you need to make your KYP universally acceptable to people with disabilities also, right? So reinterpreting the Article 21 of the Constitution to encompass right to digital access. It means under Article 21, that is the right to life, is a right for a person with disability also, and the right to digital access is his fundamental right. Now the provisions such as know your customer, which is very essential to even open a bank account. Even if you want to open a bank account or you want to purchase a SIM, you need to have this KYP. But if you don't have KYP, there are so many services you cannot access. So it means, so the crux of the article is that only. So what are the laws? Now let's understand what are the laws in our country which actually safeguard people with disability. First of all, in preamble talk about equality, fundamental rights, right to equality, directive principle of state policies. These are actually disabled friendly. They talk about it. Other than that, we have a separate law for that. That is in 2016, there was this act, Rights of People with Disability Act 2016. Okay, actually it was there to meet the global commitments under the United Nations Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities. But it is actually a good act which is working in favor of people with disability. This law actually follows the social barrier approach. So it is not only so the people who don't have particular organs are not the only one who are considered disabled. So it is actually social barrier approach. It works on that. It means lack to accessibility because of some other conditions, some other social conditions also will be considered under this, right? Crucially, section 42 of RPWD Act mandates that government must make audio, print and electronic media accessible to people with disability. First of all, that's why if you are looking at the news in Doordarshan, so they are going to give you news in sign languages also, right, along with the audio. Then audio description, sign language interpretation and captions in media is necessary. Everyday digital tool and devices must follow the universal design. For example, if you have any digital tool or you have any phone, so all the phones which are working in India, they need to have a similar kind of outlook design. For example, if a person with disability, for example a person who is a blind, he has one phone and he is very familiar with the phone, but for some time, for some reason, the phone is is no more there or broken or somewhere, he need to change the phone. But now if the new phone have different features, if different buttons are going to be pressed by him, so it is going to be very difficult for him to get adjust to the digital device. So it should be uniform. Okay, so these devices must follow the universal design. There has to be one design so that it can be disabled friendly. Now, are KYC detail mandatory in our country? Yes, they are mandatory. Under Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, you cannot open a bank account without having any KYP. It is required for opening bank account, getting SIM card, accessing any other welfare schemes. RBI Rule 2016 also allow video-based KYP to secure digital verification, but this video-based KYP is not very friendly with people with disability. So this is the issue. So how does it affect PWDs? I have already mentioned. Visually impaired people like blind users and SC-ADAC survivor face serious barrier during digital KYC and video KYC. Current methods like blinking, reading codes, taking selfies are not accessible to them, obviously. So what is the result? They are denied of so many services. Okay, they are denied of so many welfare services also because of this. Okay, KYC, yes, it is know your customer KYC. How has Supreme Court intervened this time? Now Supreme Court has consistently held accessibility for PWDs as a constitutional imperative. What is the meaning of imperative? Matlab, it is not optional, it is a must do. Okay, so it is not something which is optional like directive principle of state policy. It is a must do thing. Other than that, in the Rajiv Rathodi versus Union of India case 2024, it was ruled that the accessibility is central to the right to life, dignity and the freedom of movement under Article 21. So this case actually gives us that right to digital access is a fundamental right under Article 21, right? It also directed that digital KYC guidelines be revised with accessibility at their core. Other than that, digital divide affect not only the PWDs, it affect the other people also, okay, on the basis of economically disadvantaged, on the basis of language, okay. There are so many bases on which there is a digital divide in our country. Relying on Article 14, 15, 21 and 38, court affirmed that the digital access is inseparable from the right to life and the liberty. So this article is about the right to life and how it is related to the rights of people with disability, especially when it comes to right to life as a digital access part. Now let's come to our next news. This is a very small news. Only you just need to understand what is happening. So there was it was so much in social media that US President Donald Trump has told the Apple CMO Tim Cook that it doesn't want Apple to manufacture in India, but this has not caused any concern in India. So this is something we need to understand, because the Apple factories in India are already capable of meeting the iPhone demand for both India and the USA for the current quarters. So this is not something we need to worry about, that Apple is not going to come to India, it is going to have serious repercussions. So it is nothing like that, okay. We already have the kind of infrastructure. So something that you need to understand, Indian officials say it is not practical to move iPhone assembly to the high labor countries like USA, okay. So in USA is not the country which is labor intensive country, because there is not much population, but in country like China and India, because the population is very high, so the labor intensive activities can be done here. So that's why these countries actually either they assemble the phone in other countries, or they have some other services from the other countries. And in our country there is not the final assembly of iPhone. We actually work on the some part, okay, chip part of iPhone, that's it. Existing operation in our country is there in Sripumbudur and Mahindra city, okay, which are already producing iPhones. New production is also starting at Tumkur and Krishnagiri units, which are going to get completed soon. If a facility is already completed, obviously, okay, the production is going to happen there. Obviously there are future expansion, there can be future expansion, but again it will depend on what kind of deal is going to be there between Apple and the government of India. So there was not much in the news, so this was all about it. This news is again very important. This news is actually the PLFS data. What is this PLFS? It is periodic labor force survey. Okay, periodic. So we have these labor force survey on quarterly basis. Along with that, in urban areas we have this survey on monthly basis also. So what are the outcome of that? So it is actually official labor market survey. It is being done by NSSO under Ministry of Statistic Program and Implementation, okay, mostly. It was launched in 2017 to provide frequent labor employment data for the policy making. So why these data are important? So whenever the government is going to make any policy, these data are actually going to help them out. Okay, for example, if female labor force participation is decreasing day by day, so we need to have some schemes. So government, while making policies, they need to have some scheme which is going to benefit the women, so that women labor force participation can increase, because economic independence is attached to so many things. So basically this periodic labor force survey is actually going to tell us the status of employment and unemployment in our country. So let's understand what are some of the outcomes. So first of all, you need to understand, in India, this is very important data. This is something which you need to remember. You need to note down in your diary. Unemployment rate in our country, in people, obviously the people above the age of 15, is 5.1%. Male unemployment rate is 5.2% and female unemployment rate is 5%. Now again, rural unemployment rate is 4.5%. These two data you need to remember, and this one, okay. Overall male and female. You can understand this is just the average of this male and female. This is just the average of that. Okay, 5.2 and 5%. Now, urban unemployment rate is more. This is also something you need to understand. Rural unemployment rate is less. Why? Because most of the people in rural area have employment in agriculture. Okay, but in urban area you need to seek the employment outside. So that's why urban unemployability is more. Urban female, actually this is also a major concern, that urban females, though the unemployment rate is not that, it's not as much as the male unemployment rate, but urban female faced very high unemployment, that is 23.7%. okay, are unemployed right now. Now what does it actually say? Unemployment rate among males are higher as compared to female. This is the statement. If this statement comes into your examination, you will say this is the correct statement. Yes, they won't give you the data, they can just give you the statement that unemployment rate among males are higher than the female. Yes, this statement is right. Rural unemployment rate for all person in all ages was 4.5%. It means less than the urban unemployment. This is also something you need to remember. Okay, so these are very small news. So let's do some questions. So first you look at the question and you tell me the answer. Very easy. Anyone? I have just mentioned there is an upcoming Apple iPhone assembly unit is going to be there in Tumkur. Now, another question. Yes, Chitra, you are very much right. Mr. Gagan, you are also right. In Rajiv Rathodi versus Union of India, the Supreme Court held that the digital accessibility for person with disability is a very easy question. But when the questions will be there in examination, you will see that the questions are very difficult, but in generally the questions are not that tough. So C is the answer in your second question. Yes, all of you are right. You all are very good students. Now there is another question. This is the mains question based on a news which I am not covering. So on your text and context page, there is a news that should nota be included in all election compulsory. So let me tell you the crux of the news. The news is about that whenever there are elections, there is only one candidate. Okay, so they don't give the nota as an option. So there is only one candidate, you have to choose that particular candidate because there is no other candidate, there is no competition. So in such kind of elections, there is no mention, there is no mention of nota. So now there was a demand from the side of the media that there should be a nota as a part in those kind of election. It means nota should be included in all election compulsory. And there is a question based on that. None of the above is a tool to strengthen democratic accountability, yet its compulsory inclusion in election with a single candidate remain debated. So discuss the relevance and challenges. So what you need to do, you just need to tell in introduction what this nota is. What is nota? Then you need to focus on the relevance and challenges. First you need to tell the relevance, 1 or 2 point. Then you can have 2 to 3 challenges in implementing nota. Then you need to suggest some reform. So you need to focus on 3 things: telling relevance, then challenges and the reforms. Along with that, you need to tell me what is the meaning of nota. So this is a homework for you. You guys can attempt this question. Those obviously not giving prelims this time. Okay, those who are giving mains. Okay, so this is all about today's discussion. Hey, we are going to meet tomorrow as well. So till then, goodbye and have a very nice good evening.